Hello again friends, it's me Sonia. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching. I've got a news update. It's regarding Saudi Arabia, and this kingdom in Arabia has got itself in a lot of trouble lately. I've got a few things I want to show you again, so if you just bear with me. This is kind of breaking news. Well, it was 5-6 days ago. Have you heard about it? I'm going to go and explain and give my analysis on the situation, and also show you some news clips or some insight in regards to Neom city in Saudi Arabia and what the deal with that is. There's a lot of breaking news regarding Saudi Arabia lately, and this is going to set Neom city back. It's going to set it back because of the economic crisis a lot of the nations of the world are experiencing right now, plus the coronavirus situation. But anyhow, listen to this breaking news.
The lawsuit was filed in a U.S. federal court, and while we're not able to verify the allegations in these court documents, they are extraordinary. The suit alleges Saudi Arabia's crown prince sent a hit squad to Canada on a mission to kill a former top Saudi intelligence official. His name is Saad Al-Jabri. He's a permanent resident of Canada who lives in Toronto. The suit claims his deep knowledge of the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's business dealings makes him a target. Al-Jabri's lawyers allege that a group of elite hitmen known as the Tiger Squad was sent to Canada at the direction of MBS. According to court documents, this is the same group behind the 2018 killing and dismemberment of journalist Jamal Khashoggi at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. The suit claims members of that squad were stopped at Pearson International Airport less than 2 weeks after Khashoggi's death, attempting to enter Canada on tourist visas, carrying 2 bags of forensic tools. The plot was allegedly thwarted by Canada border officers. All men were refused entry except for one. He was let in with a diplomatic passport, and then he allegedly met with Al-Jabri to persuade him to visit family in Turkey. Al-Jabri never went. A public safety minister, Bill Blair, wouldn't comment on the allegations, but he did say, quote, "It is completely unacceptable and we will never tolerate foreign actors threatening Canada's national security or the safety of our citizens and residents." The relations between Canada and Saudi Arabia have been strained since August of 2018, when then Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland tweeted that the kingdom should immediately release imprisoned protesters. But clearly, relations aren't frosty enough to stop the two countries from signing a $14 billion deal in April, which will see Canada sell the kingdom light armored vehicles. Mike Lecuteur, Global News, Ottawa.
Yeah, of course, there'll be no nation is going to sort of cut ties with Saudi Arabia. You know why? There's too much money at stake. Now, there was this article that I read on, I believe it's an Islamic, it's called Islam 21C. And I thought what was written here was actually quite telling. Trouble in paradise, eh? Saudi Arabia. US court issues summons for Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. This was 20 hours ago. The US District Court of Columbia has issued a summons for the Saudi Crown Prince. Oh, it's such a mouthful. I'm going to skip some bits. After a lawsuit was filed by a former Saudi intelligence agent who was allegedly targeted in a prevented assassination attempt. What drama! The former agent Saad Al-Jabri filed the lawsuit accusing MBS of sending a hit squad to Canada in an attempt to kill him. Al-Jabri, who lives in Canada with protection by police and private security due to the current situation, claimed that his extensive knowledge of the Crown Prince's activities, tied with his close relationship with the US intelligence community, has made him a key target of the Saudi monarch. What secrets, what extensive knowledge is there? I think there's a lot of damning information that this guy has, and Salman knows about it. He knows damn right that he is very vulnerable right now, and he would do anything he can to stop this guy in his tracks. But I'm telling you, Saudi Crown Prince will be defended. He'll be protected, you guys. Why? Because there's too much at stake for the nations. They invest in her, they need a lot from her, and they will protect Saudi Arabia, which is why Turkey is infuriated when things like this happen. And I believe behind the scenes what's going on here is a conflict between the Muslim Brotherhood and Saudi Arabia. I'll show you that in a moment. The lawsuit by Al-Jabri stated that few places hold more sensitive, humiliating and damning information about the defendant bin Salman than the mind and memory of Dr. Saad, except perhaps the recording Dr. Saad made in anticipation of his death. Wow. The lawsuit further added that if you fail to respond, judgment by default will be entered against you for the relief demanded in the complaint. Wow. Saudi Arabia have issued many Interpol red notices seeking the return of Al-Jabri, which have all been dismissed by the agency as political. However, this has pressed other countries to send Al-Jabri back to Saudi Arabia. You see, he's just a pawn in this, that just saying go back to Saudi Arabia and face justice over there, as the former intelligence officer has been accused of corruption. This is what they do, you see. This is the kind of deals that go on behind the scenes. They're all using one another. There's a lot of blackmail involved, and I believe this is all tied in to this Freemasonic Shriner occultic group and club that they're all involved in, you guys. And when one deviates from the order, this is what happens. Of course, I've got no concrete evidence, but I'm going by what I see and how this thing works. And often we see only some of the symptoms play out in the public arena, but we don't know what goes on behind these closed doors. The filed lawsuit explains that MBS had ordered the detention of 2 Al-Jabri's children. He kidnapped his kids, who have coincidentally gone missing from their home in Riyadh in mid-March. And again, this is nothing new. This is what the Saudi and the Arabians, these princes, this is what they do. They do it with their own daughters, their princesses. You must know about it. It's available on YouTube. Look up the stories, you guys, how they're treated if they want to sort of deviate or rebel against the norms, the Islamic norms that are there. They want to literally pay somebody to get kidnapped to get out of that place. There is also an indication that other relatives have been both arrested and tortured. Yeah, I agree, and I believe this is accurate. This is what they do, all in an effort to bait Dr. Saad back to Saudi Arabia to be killed, according to the lawsuit. These claims from the lawsuit are allegations that have not yet been proven. Okay, anyhow, I won't read the whole thing. Who is this guy? Sorry. After his dismissal from government, this could probably be at the time when Salman was cracking down and he's doing these reforms, possibly during that time. Al-Jabri continued advising Mohammed bin Nayef. Who was that? Goodness, all these guys. Nayef al-Saud is a prominent member of the House of Saud. Wow, he's the nephew of King Salman and grandson of the founding monarch, King Abdulaziz. His father was Prince Naif, was also Crown Prince. Oh, okay. In a personal capacity until he departed Saudi Arabia, May 2017. He remained abroad following the ousting of Mohammed bin Nayef as Crown Prince the following month, and later took refuge in Canada. They found refuge in Canada. Why is that? Because America, here where we are, I believe, favours Saudi Arabia. So would it make sense, would it, if they came over here for refuge? I don't know. I could be wrong. Now I'm going to bring up an article that was released a few months ago. Do you remember this? FBI had apparently accidentally, reveals name of Saudi official linked to 9/11 in court filing. Many people have already worked that out, that it was definitely the Saudis behind it. Some people falsely accuse a Zionist agenda behind it, but there's more evidence to suggest it was the Saudi Arabians' hand to play in this. In a federal court filing made last month, this was in May. This report was in May, but not unsealed until last week. The FBI's counterterrorism division accidentally revealed the name of an official from Saudi Arabia's embassy in Washington, who has long been suspected of assisting the Al-Qaeda terrorists who carried out the 9/11 attacks. Let me skip all those endless commercials and advertisements. The FBI hastily withdrew the filing, but the cat is already out of the bag. The Jerusalem Post noticed on Wednesday that Iranian and Turkish state media are gleefully spreading Jarrah's name far and wide to embarrass the Saudi monarchy, which their own governments view as a regional rival for power. Again, I've mentioned that before. I'm sorry. Now, there's something else I want to show you. Which one to show you first? Okay, let me show you a clip that I thought was actually quite well put together. It's actually on TRT. It gives you a little backdrop to understanding visually by watching a clip rather than just reading the Muslim Brotherhood and the Saudi Arabian relationship a little bit in a nutshell.
The Muslim Brotherhood. It usually brings to mind images of Egypt's deposed leader Mohammed Morsi, but members of the group have been imprisoned and suppressed in countries across the Middle East for decades. Its relationship with Saudi Arabia in particular is especially interesting. Though the Brotherhood has taken a stance against monarchies and military dictatorships, initially the group and Saudi Arabia were on friendly terms. According to the Washington Institute, between the 1950s and 70s, the two sides came together mainly on the Palestinian issue. Saudi Arabia had also accommodated thousands of Brotherhood activists facing imprisonment and repression in Egypt, Syria, and elsewhere, and it soon gained influence in the country. The Saudis recruited thousands of Egyptian teachers, many of whom were Brotherhood aligned, into their own public schools. The Portal, an independent research organization, says that for the Egyptians, it was a way to flee a repressive government, and for the kingdom, these were just teachers giving Saudi youth a formal education. But when the group tried to organize a branch in the country in the 1960s, the Saudis refused to give them a platform to use religion for political purposes. King Faisal explained to the group that Saudis were already Muslims and didn't need a group to spread religious ideology. But it was a couple of decades later that relations actually began to sour between the two sides. But more on that later. The Brotherhood was founded in Egypt by Hassan al-Banna in 1928 as a response to British colonialism. It was an attempt to preserve traditional customs and values in the face of westernization. The group started as a place for youth to learn about their religion and culture.
As a result of British colonialism, because they pinned the blame on the British and on the French, who brought down the Ottoman Empire. You see, that is their interpretation, that is their understanding. So this whole mission for the Muslim Brotherhood reforming is to avenge the fall of the Khilafah, the Ottoman Caliphate, you see. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is building her own kingdom, her own empire down south in Saudi Arabia, right?
By the 1930s, adults also joined the group, and it became more of a fraternal organization. But at the time, no one knew much about the Muslim Brotherhood outside of Egypt, and it found few followers among the Egyptian elite.
I believe the Muslim Brotherhood is another secret society. It's the Brotherhood, right? It's a brotherhood, it's a fraternity, and look at the emblems that they own.
In 1948, it called on its members to resist Israeli aggression against the Palestinians, and in the 50s and 60s, it supported the Algerian war against the French. Splinter groups formed in other countries, including in Jordan, Bahrain, Kuwait, Libya, and Morocco. In the 1980s, the Syrian branch was brutally suppressed in what became known as the Hama massacre. And during the First Intifada, the group gave birth to Hamas in Palestine. The Muslim Brotherhood has ideologies that overlap with Saudi society while still maintaining distinct characteristics. The Saudis mostly follow a more literal and puritanical interpretation of Islam, generally characterized as Wahhabi or Salafi ideologies, while the Brotherhood promotes what they claim to be more progressive interpretations that try to contextualize the text to contemporary times.
I believe they're more inspired by the Sufi strain of Islam, and I believe that is what they do behind closed doors. the mystical side of Islam.
By 1990, the Muslim Brotherhood diverged with Riyadh on the first Gulf War in Iraq and later the second Gulf War of 2003. The Brotherhood openly criticized U.S. military presence in the kingdom. Authorities crushed the campaign of dissent, and in 2002, the Interior Minister called the Brotherhood the source of all evils in the kingdom. Ever since, Riyadh has done its best to remove the once accepted influence of the Brotherhood in its institutions. Last September, the Minister of Education said the country's school books were free of Muslim Brotherhood contamination. But the rivalry goes well beyond the classroom. The Saudis increasingly view the Brotherhood as a threat to their influence in the region, especially after the Arab Spring, where the Brotherhood gained strong electoral gains in Egypt and Tunisia. Saudi Arabia and the UAE bankrolled the 2013 coup against the first democratically elected president and Muslim Brotherhood leader, Mohammed Morsi, in Egypt. A Saudi-led bloc of the UAE, Bahrain, and Egypt made the group a featured component of the 2017 Gulf crisis with Qatar, calling on Doha to designate the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization. Saudi has even pushed the U.S. to call the group a terrorist organization. But former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said in 2017 that doing so would complicate U.S. diplomacy, saying there are 5 million members across the Middle East, including many holding government positions.
Let me just interrupt by saying that, have you noticed the double standard or the two-sided coin? You've got Muslim Brotherhood infiltration in the USA in government, right? Let's face it, it's there, it's present. But yet you've got them being one of the greatest supporters and allies of Saudi Arabia. It would seem a contradiction, right? Again, I mentioned this in another video of mine, another message. If you would consider, just for argument's sake, the Muslim Brotherhood being a type of the Antichrist beast kingdom, where it is political, ideological, and military, the military wing being Hamas, the Palestinian wing, and Saudi Arabia being the mystery Babylon entity. Seduction, riches, wealth, power, and a lot of control. She controls the kings of the earth through her wealth, seduction, but she also has dominion over the nations surrounding that region there who have influence over Israel as well. Remember, Israel is at the heart of Bible prophecy, so whatever's taking place in this region, we should be aware of what's happening and how it's going to affect the rest of the world. What's going on here is going to affect the rest of the world. It's going to highly affect commerce, the economy, probably travel, and it's potentially leading to a clash, another clash of civilizations.
The Saudis and their allies have effectively managed to choke the Muslim Brotherhood out of public life in the region. But for how much longer will they be able to suppress other opposition voices?
So that piece there by TRT was very pro-Muslim Brotherhood, as you can tell in the tone. Another clip of this about this guy here, John Brennan. Now it says, if I can just bring this over here, my internet is slow today. Oh. It says that he was, I think, a CIA. He served. John Brennan is a former American intelligence officer who served as the director of the CIA from March 2013 to January 2017. He served as chief counter-terrorism advisor to U.S. Former Barack Obama with the title Deputy National Security Advisor for Homeland Security and Counter-Terrorism. A very strategic job role, would you say, he had, right? So then why would he be talking like this?
Who taught me that whatever our differences of nationality or race or religion or language, there are certain aspirations that we all share. To get an education, to provide for our families, to practice our faith freely, to live in peace and security. And during a 25-year career in government, I was privileged to serve in positions across the Middle East, as a political officer with the State Department and as a CIA station chief in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, I saw how our Saudi partners fulfilled their duty as custodian of the two holy mosques of Mecca and Medina. I marveled at the majesty of the Hajj and the devotion of those who fulfilled their duty as Muslims by making that privilege.
It's widely known now and not so widely accepted that he has confessed himself to be a Muslim. He's said the Shahada and he's a Muslim. And that's a whole another story. I'm mentioning this because I want to show you the far wide-reaching implications of Saudi Arabia Islamic influence over the nations and how great her influence is over America, you guys.
But the pilgrimage. And in all my travels, the city I have come to love most is Al-Quds, Jerusalem, where three great faiths come together. So much attention is paid to the divisions in that wonderful city.
Okay, short clip because they wanted to make sure they had just that little clip there regarding this weird affair that he has with Islam and Saudi Arabia. But it does say here, it gives it away somewhat. Let me read from, let's see, where can I read it from? Okay. Previously, he advised Obama on foreign policy and intelligence issues during the 2008 election campaign and presidential transition. Brennan withdrew his name from consideration for director of the CIA during the first Obama administration over concerns about his support after defending on TV the transferring of terror suspects to countries where they might be tortured while serving under the former President George Bush. Instead, Brennan was appointed Deputy National Security Advisor, a position which did not require Senate confirmation. Interesting. Brennan's 25 years with the CIA included work as a Near East and South Asia analyst, as station chief in Saudi Arabia, and as director of the National Counterterrorism Center. After leaving government service in 2005, Brennan became CEO of the Analysis Corporation, a security consulting business, and served as chairman of the Intelligence National Security Alliance, an association of intelligence professionals. So he has had roots, connections with Saudi Arabia. And what I find interesting is if we would remember back when Barack Obama went to visit Saudi Arabia, how he was greeted over there. They give him this grand welcome, right? They give him some sort of golden chain that he wears. It's like as though these powerful leaders of our world bow down to this king, this kingdom in Saudi Arabia. Now, another thing, I want to bring your attention back to this desperate situation, I think, for Saudi Arabia, is this future enterprise regarding Neom City. Now, let me just give you a little backdrop for those of you who haven't heard about it. Neom City. In a recent interview, Saudi Crown Prince said about Iran's leader Ayatollah al-Khamenei that he makes Hitler look good. So you can see this back and forth war of words between these entities with Turkey and with Iran. The supreme leader is trying to conquer the world while Hitler tried to conquer Europe. In the interview, he also said that Israel has a right to a homeland, a notable shift in the kingdom's position. MBS is sending clear signs of a warming in the relationship between Saudi Arabia and Israel, and that is not good. That is really bad news. Israel should not be doing that. Now, if you think about it from a geopolitical aspect, it's probably a really wise thing for Israel to consider entering into investment ventures with Saudi Arabia, as is Jordan and as is Egypt. But from a spiritual perspective, how many times, you guys, has God warned Israel not to enter into alliances or covenants with the surrounding nations? How many times has he said that? But now we're living in this modern era and everyone's working with everybody despite the immorality, the wickedness that is taking place, right? Everyone just ignores that. It's really wrong. I disagree with this. Really disappointed. Great plans have already been made for future cooperation. Last October, at the Future Investment Initiative, well, that was in 2018 rather, MBS announced the Neom project. So it wasn't that long ago he announced it, and they've begun working on it. It's a high-tech transnational economic zone. Why is it transnational? Because well, let me read. With the mega city 33 times the size of New York. 33 times the size of New York. Located in the northeast part of the country, bordering on Jordan and connected to Egypt through a bridge across the Gulf of Aqaba. The zone will cover 26,500 square kilometers. It will target futuristic technologies, nanobiology, bioengineering, and luxury tourism. There's your mystery Babylon in the making. It will operate independently from the government under a specific legal regime geared for Western lifestyle and insulated from Islamic law. Yes, they're going to relax the Islamic Sharia within Neom City, which is why they are targeting the international investors. They want tourism. They want people to pack up their bags and move over there to set them, have a lovely future in this beautiful place. And it's all about technology, future advancements of the human race. And I worry that, is this because they see a potential threat coming to the West? I'm concerned, you guys. I think that something's going to go down bad in the West, economically possibly, security-wise. It could be something to do with this virus, I don't know. But it seems like they're preparing this place to be the world's #1 economic zone, which is what it wants to do, right? Why would you have that? I thought like you have other #1 positions in the world economically, London, New York City, right? Why this place? It does concern me. I'm really worried. But I know that the Lord our God has everything in his perfect will and his timing. It will operate independently. I read that. This project has a provisional budget of around $500 billion. Provisional. The project manager is the German Klaus Kleinfeld, former boss of the transnational Alcoa Arconic and administrator of the Bilderberg Group. The first phase of the project is due in 2025. So they're trying to connect this whole region here to make it the hub. It's going to be the hub, the main hub of the world right now. If you would say that would be the capital of the world, like every nation has a capital city, this would be considered the capital country of the world combined, because many nations are going to invest in her. However, they've had a lot of they've had many setbacks. This is a little clip I want to show you, and it's a recent clip. How recent was this? A couple of weeks ago. Not all looking good. Oh dear. You see, so what does this pose for the future for Neom City? You know, desperate times call for desperate measures, right? There's also latest news regarding let me open up this link here. Not looking good, not looking good. But look at the symbolism regarding Neom City. Look, very Masonic. And then somebody mentioned that they can actually see Baphomet in that symbol there. Oh goodness, you guys, these ads, they don't stop. Anyway, tournament organizer Blast ends partnership with Neom. This is recent. This was today. Danish tournament organizer Blast, if I can get that a little larger, that would be beneficial because you can read it. Yes, you can. Alright, Blast have ended their controversial partnership with Neom, and do you know why? It's going to be related to the LBGT community. They figured out, they realised how sort of strict Sharia law is, and they can't be doing deals with Neom, Saudi Arabia, because they have such strict laws. And I think if push comes to shove, I would not be surprised if Neom City begins to relax those kind of Sharia laws. I think that's where this is heading. Anyway, let's read. A Saudi Arabian state-backed city development amid public outcry and pressure from partner teams and on-air talent, as first reported by HLTV and confirmed by ESPN. The decision to end the partnership came as many partner teams of Blast and both current and former talents, such as former commentator Jason Moses O'Toole, publicly and privately lambasted Blast over RFRSH Entertainment for entering into a deal with Neom. On Monday, Blast executives held a meeting with leaders from their partner teams, informing them of the decision. Blast did not respond to a request for comment. Okay, one moment. Blast is the second major esports company to cancel their deal with Neom amid public outcry. Very similar to the public outcry after Jamal Khashoggi fiasco, right? Riot Games, whose League of Legends European Championship also struck a deal with Neom, ended their partnership with the city development on July 29th, 16 hours after it was announced. They changed their mind that quickly, so soon after. When Blast and Riot entered partnerships with Neom in late July, social media was ablaze with criticism over Saudi Arabia's handling of LGBTQ rights and the land on which Neom is being built, which is home to the Huwaitha indigenous tribe. Saudi Arabia follows Islamic Sharia law, where being gay or transgender is illegal and has been punished by fines, public whipping, castrations, and various forms of imprisonment, according to a report from The Guardian. For Riot, the League European Championship broadcast team threatened to boycott the broadcast for the weekend of July 31st to August 2nd if Riot did not cancel the partnership. They threatened them. Several members of the broadcast team or staff or LEC teams identify with LGBTQ community, including popular analyst Indiana Froskurin, Black and Mad Lions community manager James Stress O'Leary, who are gay. Several top Counter-Strike talents followed suit, with Blast drawing criticism from journalists. However, now it doesn't matter because they're going to continue, you guys. There are people out there who don't care. They will still invest. 23 hours ago, Neom, Saudi Arabia to develop advanced transport system for a futuristic city. Who's involved in this? Let's find out. Abu Dhabi report. This is where it was reported. Saudi Arabia has awarded a contract to US-based Bechtel for executive project management work for the futuristic Neom development. Neom selected Bechtel to oversee and create resource-efficient utilities and a highly advanced transport. Work will include simultaneous construction in multiple locations. Neom's infrastructure will utilize AI, robots, and human machines. Transhumanism, people, are you out there? Are you aware of what's taking place in Saudi Arabia, Neom City? All the transhumanism folks out there who like to find out about all this. Do you know and are you aware that this is where it's going to be focused? The main place for transhumanism is right here in Saudi Arabia. Because eventually they're going to need one country that completely has control and is the focal center of the world's future. This is Babylon on steroids, you guys. Is any wonder why the Lord God calls it Mystery Babylon, mother of harlots? Anyway, let me bring your attention back here again. I'm going to end with this scripture, and I think this ended up being quite a long video, and I really didn't want that anyway. Revelation chapter 20. Let me just remind you what the scripture says regarding Mystery Babylon and how she will be judged. In Revelation chapter 19, in fact, Revelation chapter 18. Let me remind you what it says. Babylon the Great is fallen and has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison for every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. Revelation chapter 18, verse 2. I will continue, verse 3. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich through the abundance of her luxury. Do you notice there's two aspects to this influence that she has? Number one, it says, the kings of the earth commit fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich through the abundance of her luxury. So the kings are the ones who commit fornication with her, and the second one is the merchants of the earth become rich through the abundance of her luxury. Anyway, this is an update regarding Saudi Arabia. Mystery Babylon subject. There's so much more to talk about on this subject, friends. So much. I will continue to do it, and I'm doing this day in, day out now, you guys, just preparing my notes and getting things ready to share with you on screen. If you enjoyed this message, if you thought it was valuable, informative, would you please share it with your friends, with your family, and please consider supporting me. I would really appreciate that ever so much. Thank you, and thank you to all my new subscribers as well. Really happy to see you there, to be honest. I haven't been on here long. I've been on YouTube a little over a year now, so the Lord is really helping me get my messages out slowly but surely with his help. Thank you. And it's down to you guys, you know, you help me by sharing my content, liking the videos, commenting under the videos, and really appreciate it. Anyway, thank you so much, and I'll be back again soon. Please share this message. Thank you.